When it comes to manifesting $1 million or whatever the amount may be, the individual has the ability to do so in a stress-based way or a flow-based way. It's completely up to the individual. By that, it is meant specifically, everything here appears to reflect either the conditioning in mind that suggests that it needs to be force-based or stress-based, or it represents truth, the true nature. And by that, it is meant the real self plays out as all things being in harmony. And so it can really appear that way, the fun, joyous, flow-based way, where people, the assets, everything required to build a business naturally, spontaneously emerges. Now, if I say words like required, it could sound like a force-based thing to do. Okay, Joseph said, it is required to have this or that in order to build a business. And a person may look around and say, I don't have these things. And no shame, no condemnation. What I'm saying is that these things that are required naturally and spontaneously emerge in flow. And it is only the conditioning in mind that generates the resistance in entrepreneurship. And I speak from experience, having built 3 successful businesses, and also being a business consultant since 2013 and working with thousands of entrepreneurs. I've seen the patterns play out, and we have tracked the patterns back to the conditioning in mind, or the mind that is free from conditioning, the unfettered mind. There's a wonderful book called The Unfettered Mind, Writings from the Zen Master to Sword Master by Taekwondo Soho. I recommend reading it. Although it's not a formal entrepreneurial book, it is one that I trust you'll find to be very insightful. What I teach is releasing the conditions placed upon consciousness so that the real self, your natural way, practically speaking, your naturally occurring way emerges. As I put in my book, if you haven't checked out my book, I'll link in the description to it. Your way is the best way. Speaking of which, you may hear a little background noise here. I'm in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, one of my favorite places in the world. And I like to travel while growing my business. Now, some might think, how can you do that? Doesn't your business involve commitment and require you to work from morning till night? Well, the answer is it depends. It depends on your business model. And for some, they actually like doing that, which is completely fine. Some might prefer to put in 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, work 4 days a week. Completely fine. Your way is the best way. So I want to speak today about how everything naturally, spontaneously arises from the sure foundation of being completely fulfilled. I also want to refer to a video that I released on my other channel. If you haven't seen it, I'll link in the description to it, from this Sunday, where I speak about how I am everything and I am nothing. I am everything and I am nothing. By knowing that I am everything and I am nothing, everything appears to be in harmony. So one could say then, I am all these things in perfect harmony. I am not the conditions in mind where the individual thinks in terms of lack or not being who they desire to be, etc., etc. So I wrote this here as the premise of our conversation. From the sure foundation of being completely fulfilled. So again, I am everything. I am nothing. You know that you have everything you need. You know, in the Bible it says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I am everything and I am nothing. What is there to want if I am nothing? What is there to want if I am everything? So from the sure foundation of being completely fulfilled, you know that you have everything you could possibly ever need, and everything and everyone who plays a role in your entrepreneurial endeavor naturally shows up. Now, as you know, I like to segment a business as follows: innovation, sales, marketing, operations, finance, and leadership. Now, why do I segment it this way? Because these are the parts that represent the whole of the business. Now, you could segment it whatever way you'd like. This is the way that I teach it. Now, the individual may look at these areas and say, oh my goodness, that's a lot of things to do. I got to do the innovation, I got to do the sales, I got to do the marketing, I got to do the operations, the finance, the leadership. Actually, no. You can do these things if you would like. Or you can acknowledge, as we mentioned, that relationships show up to be in harmony and in contribution. You may hire somebody, you may bring on a partner, you can, and we'll go through a number of different scenarios, have these areas be taken care of and not be neglected. So the way I teach entrepreneurs is, although we don't necessarily have to do these things, you may do some of these things, I don't neglect these things. I don't ignore them, and I don't pretend like they're not there. They get taken care of in flow. So what's there to ignore? So now I like to run it through a filter, each one of these areas. Whenever I'm involved with a task, a project, or initiative in any one of these areas, I like to run it through a filter so that I can determine what I genuinely desire to do and what can be optimized, automated, delegated, and eliminated. Thus, my filter is optimization, automation, delegation, elimination in part or in whole or in combination. Now, what I'm sharing in this video here is all throughout this channel I've been sharing. Businesses have paid me thousands of dollars to go in and optimize. I have done this on my own businesses as well. This is practical, high leverage business building, not based on conjecture. This is what actually works. So I trust you'll value this information here, because it's one thing for me to say to you, oh, you are already that which you desire to be. You are completely fulfilled. And that might not make any sense. So by exploring through a deeper degree of what it can look like as it plays out, it clears up any confusion in mind. Because the confusion only is in mind. You know, as the book, The Unfettered Mind, stated, mind must always be kept in a state of flowing, which is the natural way of being. So the way the mind is kept in a state of flowing is by dissolving the conditions in mind, the conditions of I can't do this, etc. Through exploratory conversations like this, which, by the way, when I was building my IT business in 2009 and 10, I would be riding the subway system in Toronto, going to client sites, because it was far easier for me to do that than to drive around and park. And one of the things that I used to do was I would listen to marketing podcasts, business podcasts, sometimes on double speed. And I wasn't trying to implement everything that they were suggesting. They were saying many different things on the podcast. I knew that that information was going into my subconscious mind. And then at the right moment, at the right time, I would do some of those things that were proposed, or I may do it my way, or it may inspire another idea. And that's what ended up happening. As you may know, I built my IT business to success through referrals. And for me, that's a very natural form of marketing. I'm not forcing myself to do some kind of marketing that I don't want to do. There are tons of different kinds of marketing techniques and marketing strategies out there. So many of them that are effective that I haven't even seen yet, and I've been a consultant for many years, and I've seen a lot of them. Yet I know that there are infinite ways, infinite tactics, infinite strategies to marketing. So by engaging in exploratory conversations like this with people that have built successful businesses, what happens is I found that I may do something that they were discussing, or I may do a variation as mentioned, or it may stimulate an idea that I never thought of before, just by having very precise conversations about what's really going on. And then also throwing it in there that you don't have to do it this way. Your way is the best way. So that's why I put together these conversations, because now I play that role that was played by those podcasts back in the days that were created by successful entrepreneurs. Now I get to play that role. And also to consider that I'm constantly, like you, refining, learning, and growing as an entrepreneur. I find that there's no limit to how much you can grow and cultivate the skill of entrepreneurship. Like, for example, snowboarding, and I snowboard, or any kind of hobby, any kind of craft. We are constantly refining, not in a force or stress-based way, that's based on conditioning, but in a joyous, fun, flow-based way, naturally, the skill manifests. So the way we manifest it naturally, effortlessly, the way the real self shines forth, as mentioned, is by dropping the conditions in mind. And one of the ways to drop conditions in mind is not by going into our head and getting stuck in our head, but by having exploratory conversations that can be had like this. For example, this is one right here we're having in the video. And I don't know if you know, but I have a school community. We have exploratory conversations in there as well. And through the exploratory conversations, dialogue with other individuals who are also sharing that like-mindedness, operating from the heart of awareness in perfect harmony, what happens is, as I mentioned, the conditions fall away and your natural way arises. So what are some ways that we can optimize, automate, delegate, and eliminate in innovation, sales, marketing, operations, finance, and leadership? So under innovation, it's you inventing or innovating to create products or services for your market. All that is categorized under innovation. Optimize. Refine your ideation process by using client feedback loops so new ideas land more effectively. So if we get an idea and we put it out there into the marketplace and we have some clients, this is what I did with, for example, with the school community and flow-based prosperity, my group coaching and mastermind service. What I found is that I get version 1 out. I don't overthink it. I don't try to make it perfect. See, perfection is you. You are perfect. It just unfolds more so. You are that perfection. You are that perfection appearing more so, as I always say. So no need to try to be perfect. It is unfolding more so. It is naturally manifesting. The skill is naturally being cultivated. Everything happens naturally. It unfolds spontaneously from the heart of awareness. And so the thing that I do is whatever idea I get, I take that step and I move forward with it. I put it out there, and then I'm engaging with the clients. And as a result of engaging with the clients, I find ways to optimize. So again, a person may think, wow, it's a lot of work to build a business to success. It's actually not a lot of work. You can optimize, you can delegate, you can eliminate, and you can automate parts or whole. And now with AI, it's gotten easier and easier and easier. You can partner with someone that could take on the things that you don't genuinely desire to do, but those are the things that they genuinely desire to do. I just do what I love to do, and I do it from a state of flow. So the next is automate. You can use AI tools to generate prototypes, mock-ups, or creative prompts. Delegate. You can assign research and development or brainstorming to a creative team, or you can bring someone on to help you with your innovation. So that way you don't get stuck in your head and you can collaboratively work with another individual. There's an enormous benefit in being in an environment like a mastermind or a community or having harmonious relationships. When 2 or 3 or more individuals come together, as Napoleon Hill had articulated in Think and Grow Rich, in perfect harmony, another mind or a third mind, the universal mind, converges. It is like that. There's only one universal mind. Yet that is manifested practically as creative ideas naturally emerge from the source. And sometimes for some individuals, they might find that it's a lot easier to do that with another individual or in a group environment. The next is eliminate. So instead of chasing ideas outside of the areas you're genuinely interested in, which we can call that shiny object syndrome, which is a result of conditioning in mind that suggests that happiness or peace or bliss or love or fulfillment is apart from this moment now. Love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment is the moment now, and it is here now, and it is not apart from this moment now. That's an illusory thought to suggest that if I go there, then I can experience happiness. So I know that by being fully committed to the ideas that I roll out and then optimizing them along the way, and then eliminating any kind of thought that suggests I need to do this or that, and shiny object syndrome, etc. That's how I've purified the subconscious mind from that condition, those conditions that suggest that love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment is apart from this moment now. That allows me to be deeply engaged in this conversation with you from a state of flow, not from a state of force. As I mentioned, entrepreneurship can be fun, joyous, flow-based, and not stress and force-based. It's up to you. It could be, if you want to identify with conditioning, stress and force-based, or it could just be natural, like the trees, they just naturally grow. Just like that. We water them, they naturally grow. Or if we don't water them, it rains, they naturally grow. So business is like that. It naturally grows as you water it. And the ideas of how you go about doing it, they naturally, spontaneously arise in a mind that is not fettered by conditions. So the next is sales. With sales, you can improve your sales conversion, optimize. Here's one optimization point. If I was to make a video discussing the various optimization points that I did that was effective, and also the optimization points that my clients have done and that I have seen other businesses do that have optimized their sales, this video would go on for, it'll be a never-ending video. So here's one. You can improve your sales conversions by adding discovery questions that reveals clients' desires, pains, needs, frustrations. Prior to them booking a call with you, you can send them a questionnaire. For Calendly, for example, if you use Calendly, there's a place where you can ask questions. And those questions can reveal their pains, needs, desires, and frustrations without probing in a way that is intrusive. And then you have that ready for them on the call, if you're doing a Zoom session or a phone call, or offline if you're doing a meeting. Automate. Set up a CRM with automated follow-ups and reminders. And I like to do this in a fun, joyous way, not in a stress-based way. By follow-up, I'm not interested in stressing out the prospects. Everything happens naturally, spontaneously. You tune in. See, while in flow, you're dialed in, and you know the right ratio and the right cadence and the right kind of messages, etc., that you can put in sequence, and you may use them in a template format, or they may be individualized based on the prospect, and then put it in there and have it sent out accordingly. So if, again, as mentioned earlier, if there is help that is required, because this might not make any sense for some, what is a CRM, they might say? What is an automated follow-up? How can I set these reminders? And how can I do it in a way where it's not force or stress-based? Then I recommend my school community. We have many entrepreneurs in there. And those that are not just entrepreneurs, as mentioned, they relate to this information. They relate to the flow-based way of entrepreneurship, and they're very gracious. And as mentioned, like-mindedness, operating in complete harmony together from the heart of awareness. And so that is how we do things in the flow-based way, is collaborative environments, communities, etc. Having some people that you can call up on the phone, send a few emails to, etc. And now with the school community that you can post a question, or people you can DM, etc., that you can jump on a call with, or even through text messages, etc., you can gain a lot of clarity on these particular areas. It's very helpful. Person might ask, how do I automate? This sounds like a lot of work. Automating sales, optimizing sales. You can do it yourself, or you can bring someone on to do it, or you can bring on a firm to do it. We'll go through some examples in a moment. Delegate. So you can train a sales rep or a closer to handle sales calls while you stay in your zone of genius. Maybe it's creating content, maybe it's in the operations side, maybe more so on the innovation side. That's what you like to focus on. And you don't neglect the sales. You discover that there are people that you can bring on that genuinely love to do sales. I know many of them. They love to do sales. Now, they love to do sales also in an organization that is in complete harmony. This is one thing that I found, is great salespeople, they can go anywhere. And they choose to be in environments that are not just going to bring in the money because they know they can make the money anywhere, but they're also looking for a wonderful environment where they can learn, where they can grow, where they're mutually supported. And so that's why I teach this publicly on YouTube, is because if you build an organization, or it doesn't have to be large, it could be small or whatever, it could even be one person, that is not neglecting these areas, then what happens is when you bring on a contractor team member, you work in harmony with them. Because what I've seen sometimes is I've seen entrepreneurs and business owners, they don't have a harmonious relationship with the sales or marketing side, but they have a great appreciation for their art or their craft or whatever it is that they do. Then they kind of ignore or don't really put much attention on the sales and marketing side. When the sales and marketing team asks for some feedback, etc., they tend to be triggered by certain conversations regarding sales and marketing. And that's just conditioning, which is stored in the subconscious mind, and you can dissolve that conditioning. For that, I recommend my subconscious mind program, which brings awareness to that conditioning and dissolves it so that you can be in complete harmony. And it does not mean you have to do these things. Yet that conversation that happens between the business owner and the sales team or the agency, etc., flows naturally. Then we have remove low ticket offers that drain sales energy but don't meaningfully grow revenue. Now, this is the answer, is depends. So any offer, by that it is meant, it could be high ticket or low ticket, doesn't matter. I like to look at it this way. I have a number of offers. Some are high ticket, mid ticket, low ticket, whatever ticket you want to call it. I just do what I love to do. And if the fulfillment of the offers now start to feel like energy drains, I don't get involved with that. I just like to do what I love to do. So I put this on here. Is this an idea you could do? Is remove a low ticket offer if it feels draining. But then it's also true for a high ticket offer if it feels draining as well. Next is marketing. Optimization. Split test headlines, copy, ad targeting to increase conversion. YouTube has this wonderful functionality now which lets you test 3 thumbnails and see which one gets more click. Then we have automate, schedule content across platforms with a single dashboard tool. Delegate, hire a content creator or media buyer to run campaigns. Now, even when I mentioned the optimization and automation part, where I said you can do headline tests and you can schedule content, that could sound like a lot of force-based work. You can bring someone on your team to do it. You know, I had a number of conversations with people and they said, well, I like to come up with ideas, but I don't like to do anything else. Well, that's completely fine. You can bring on a team or a firm, or you can get AI involved to take those ideas and see them into fruition while not neglecting the sales, marketing, operations, finance, and leadership. But you can set up an infrastructure where you take care of the ideas and those ideas are seen into fruition. Now, a person may think, that's really hard. Can it really be true? There are many entrepreneurs that I've met that have done that. The question is, can you accept that it is true? It's up to you. You can, because it's just conditioning in mind that suggests otherwise. You can drop that conditioning. It really is that way, actually. Is everyone, as I mentioned, appears to be in harmony with you. The vendors, the clients, the team members, they appear to be in harmony. It does not appear that way through conditioning, which distorts reality. Delegate, hire a content creator or media buyer to run campaigns. Eliminate, drop platforms that don't align with your audience. Stop posting where engagement is minimal, and also places where you don't like. got a lot of consulting clients because of having a popular YouTube channel, my other YouTube channel. And they too wanted to get involved with YouTube. So I worked with them in that regard. And then at maybe 2 or 3 or 4 months in, they're like, you know what, this is not for me. And I said, completely fine, completely fine. I'm glad we had the opportunity to test it out to see if you'd like it. No shame, no condemnation. They found that offline or whatever platform that they were using was an ideal match for them. And maybe they thought, wow, Joseph is having a lot of fun on YouTube. I can have a lot of fun on YouTube as well. The answer is depends. Some people might have a lot of fun in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Some people might have a lot of fun in Blue Mountains, Ontario, where I live. Some people might have a lot of fun somewhere else in the world. One place is not better than another. Your style is the best style. Where do you have fun? The same is said about platforms. I don't force myself to do whatever kind of content on a platform if I don't feel like doing that kind of content or being on that platform. I don't consider one platform better than another. I genuinely love making videos on YouTube. I've been making them since 2013, and I enjoy making videos on YouTube. And even then, back in the days, I actually had a channel, 2007 to 2008, something like that, which I think had around 700 or 900 subscribers. This was back in the days. I deleted it. It was a personal development channel. And so I've been on YouTube for a long time, and I feel very natural here, and I love to be here. And I would even consider making other channels on various different kinds of topics, etc., which may or may not even have me on the camera. I might do it in partnership, animations, etc. There's lots of fun that can be had on YouTube that I see, and some of my clients are involved with it. But you don't have to do a YouTube channel if it's not resonant for you. Maybe you like doing Instagram or TikTok. I know people that they perform really well on Instagram. When I look at their profile and how they go about creating content, one could say, you got a wonderful strategy here. You're doing all these cool techniques and strategies on Instagram and it's working effectively. Yet prior to that, it's the individual being as they are. Their real self is shining forth as those techniques and strategies. And so it looks very aesthetic. It looks very effortless. Yet if we go deeper than that, we'll see that they're just doing what they love to do. Now I could say, oh, well, I'm going to copy them. But you know what? Maybe I might have fun doing it for a week or two, but I know myself, I'll probably not have fun doing it after a week or two. Like for example, with my YouTube, I genuinely have fun making videos consistently prior to making videos, during videos, after videos, the editing, etc. What I've noticed with some platforms back in the days, and even sometimes I experiment with them, is I get excited based on a particular technique or strategy that I've seen, and I did this in the earlier stages with particular ad campaigns, marketing campaigns, etc., for affiliate offers. I would start doing it because I'd get really excited, and then 1 or 2 weeks into it, I just didn't like doing the repetitive things anymore. Even though what I do is, we can say in a way repetitive, because I do 3 videos a week, I do 1 video here, and I do 2 videos on my other channel, it's not repetitive in a boring, stress, frustrating way. I genuinely love to do it. And so there are platforms, there are business models that you genuinely love to do that you can discover, and that effortlessly results in making money. It doesn't even feel like you're making money. Money just flows to you is another way of saying it. So operations, optimization, you can create documents, SOPs. I'm actually working with a client to create some SOPs. Now, some might not like this, but I like creating SOPs. Some might not like doing it, which is perfectly fine. They can bring on a firm to do it. They can have someone on their team do it, an operations manager, etc. But it's not neglected if it's applicable, if it's required. Maybe it's not right now. The answer is depends. So next is automation. Use project management tools to automatically assign tasks and track deadlines. You can see these are just some of the examples. By the way, if you want a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. You can go over to ChatGPT and say, what are some other ways in relation to what Joseph is recommending here that I could apply this to my business and describe your business? There are infinity ways to optimize, automate, delegate, and eliminate the various areas of entrepreneurship: innovation, sales, marketing, operations, finance, leadership. Your way is the best way. Your way is the best way. You don't need to, must, should, have to do it in whatever way that does not feel natural. I don't teach that. That's stress and force based. I just do what I love to do, and I teach doing what you love to do. Everything else is, Steve Jobs said, follow your heart and intuition, everything else is secondary. I used to watch the Steve Jobs commencement speech over and over again when I was building my IT business, and I absolutely love it. He's speaking absolute truth in there. You just spontaneously, naturally do what you love to do. Everything else gets taken care of. So delegation, hand off delivery, client support, or fulfillment tasks to capable team members. Now, some might not like that. They might say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do it myself. I rather hand off the marketing and the sales and the finance. Completely fine. That's maybe what you like to do. Have you ever seen the movie Jiro Dreams of Sushi? He absolutely loves making the sushi. But, however, there are particular things in the operation, like, for example, particular parts of the rice making process that he had brought on team members to help with. Eliminate. Cut redundant steps out of the workflow that add no value. Number 5, finance. Optimize. Review cash flow monthly and renegotiate contracts or terms to improve margins. Automate. Use accounting software to auto-categorize expenses and generate reports. Delegate. Hire a bookkeeper or CFO for hire to manage numbers. Eliminate. Cancel unused subscriptions or unnecessary expenses. I always teach that you can generate a wonderful income, whatever you'd like. $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $50,000. I'm talking net. I'm not talking gross. Some make like $100,000 or $200,000 a month, but they take home like $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month. Why? Because what I've found is their overhead is high and they're spending money on a whole bunch of things. So I'm not saying be cheap. I teach the following. Have a wonderful income. Number 2, have a wonderful lifestyle. And then number 3, be aware of where the money is going so you can keep more of it and invest back in your business or other investments. And that is how I did it. I kept into consideration generating a lavish, steady, dependable income, as I mentioned, with high margins, keeping the overhead low, enjoying a wonderful lifestyle, travel, etc., like I'm in Playa del Carmen right now. And I've been traveling for years. As a matter of fact, in 2013, I bought a one-way ticket to Austria, and for all the way up until 2018, I was traveling all over the place. Maybe I had some leases here and there, but I was in Mexico, I was in Europe, I was in the US, having a lot of fun, having a wonderful lifestyle, while I was putting money aside and investing and growing that investment. And you get to a point where the monthly returns on that investment is greater than the money that your business brings in, depending on how early you invest, what kind of returns you get, and how much you invest. So I like to value all 3 of those areas. Again, lavish, steady, dependable income, number 1. Number 2, wonderful lifestyle. And number 3, investing towards long-term wealth, harmonious future, etc. At the same time, not this versus that, one better than another. And one of the ways to do it is to take care of your finances. Know where the money is going. And if you need help with that, bring on a bookkeeper and CFO. Anastasia, she's a member of the school community. Shout out to her. And she loves to do it. This is the beautiful thing. People love to do what they love to do, and people get the areas of entrepreneurship taken care of when they know that everything and everyone is in perfect harmony. If you think not, just dissolve that conditioning. That's just generating the interference patterns, as I had mentioned in my Sunday's video. Again, I'll link in the description to it. Leadership. Optimize. Enhance leadership by focusing meetings on outcomes, not just updates. Oh, what's the update on this? Okay, well, what about what can be done with that update? And how does this relate to the vision? How does it relate to the numbers? How does it relate to the KPIs, et cetera, et cetera? And if that feels stress and force-based, bring someone onto your team that will take care of that for you. Automate. Use dashboards to track KPIs so you don't manually chase updates. Delegate. Empower managers or team leaders to make day-to-day decisions. Maybe they are on the fence about making decisions. Maybe they have a hard time making decisions. I love having a conversation with everyone about decisions. And generally, and I think we spoke about this on this channel, or perhaps my other channel, I mentioned that I either commit or I don't commit. And if I don't commit, but let's say at a particular point I may commit, that's completely fine. By that it is meant I always decided. So if I decide, right now I decided to put out the school community, I rolled out with the school community. I decided to do one video a week on this channel, I do one video a week on this channel. If someone says, you need to decide, force yourself to decide, I don't. Because if I have not decided yet, that is a decision. For example, I might not move forward with an investment until the time is right to move forward with the investment. That doesn't mean I'm sitting around and waiting. You know, Warren Buffett, for example, he's known to sit on a lot of capital. And when the opportunity presents itself to make an investment, he'll move in. Now, some might say, why would you do that, Warren Buffett? Well, this is one of the best investors in the world. Why would you do it, Warren Buffett? Isn't it better to do this or that with it? Warren Buffett's way is the best way for Warren Buffett. Your way is the best way for you. My way is the best way for me. And so if I decide, I decide. If I have not decided yet, then that is a decision. And when the time arises, if the opportunity arises, more specifically, I move forward with that decision and I make that decision. We could say lightning fast. So I make lightning fast decisions. And even if I have not decided upon something, that is a decision. That is a decision as well. So another way of saying it is, if I decide, great. If I don't decide, great. If there is optimization data emerging, I give it some space for it to emerge, and then when it emerges, then I make the decision. But I don't force myself to make a decision. I don't rush making decisions. Why? Does it mean that I'm going to miss an opportunity? I don't miss opportunities. This is the thing. I dissolve that conditioning that I lack something, I need something, and I recommend doing the same as well. Then what happens is a natural result of that is flow. So now let's look at one of the questions I get asked a lot is, okay, I got great ideas. I like to focus on one area of business. I like to do the innovations or the sales or the marketing or the operations, the finance, the leadership, or a few of those. But I would really like to find some people that can do it, the other areas. So again, not neglecting the other areas. I would like to find some people that could help me take care of the other areas. And I said, yes, that is how it is. That is how it works. It's only the conditioning in mind that could suggest otherwise. Dissolve that conditioning. So one of the ways as mentioned to dissolve the conditioning is to look at possible ways that it could emerge. So collaboration is one of them. You can collaborate with people. They can take care of the finance part or the operations part. You take care of the sales or the innovation part. You can bring on agencies. There are many marketing agencies. There are sales agencies. There are operations agencies. As mentioned, there are those that take care of the finance for you. You could do partnerships or joint ventures. For the sales, for example, you could bring on affiliates or referral partners. You can be part of market ecosystems and position your product or service in particular areas where your ideal prospects would be or your clients would be. You can bring on advisors and mentors to help you. You may seek community support. As mentioned, I got the school community or flow-based prosperity. If one of those are of interest to you, I'll link in the description to them. You can check them out. Strategic alliances. Align with complementary businesses so you bring strengths to the table. Maybe they're really good with the operations and you're really good with the sales. If you combine together, now you got a powerful team. Mastermind groups, you could have a board of advisors. Client contributions as well. As mentioned, clients help us in many different ways. They don't just provide the income, but they provide the optimization for our marketing, our sales, our operations, etc., so that we can create a wonderful experience for our clients, but then also come up with additional products and services that could benefit those clients and even bring in more clients by having conversations with clients. And what happens then is not just do they benefit greatly from the conversations and the client relationship, but they give you so much valuable insight as to what kind of content to create, videos to create, products to create, services to create, etc. Event collaborators and professional associations. So these are just some ways that the relationships can emerge to contribute in the areas of leadership, finance, operations, marketing, sales, and innovation without neglecting these areas. And this might sound like a lot of work if you look at it from the perspective of force, stress, and frustration. See, the way I teach is physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual are one. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual are one. So I don't mean this versus that. It's all in complete harmony, being completely fulfilled now. And by that, it is meant specifically. You may get some ideas to move forward with some of these steps. You don't have to wait for a perfect moment before you move forward. You already have the idea, you can move forward with it. And that gets taken care of. And then also, by knowing that you're completely fulfilled, all these things spontaneously arise. It's like a play, not inner versus outer, inner and outer as one. That's what I mean. And the play happens to be a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit, wonderful lifestyle, investing for long-term wealth, harmonious future, business growth, benefiting people greatly. And maybe at one point you might play a role as a coach or a consultant or a trainer or facilitator, as I have, from your experience, and teach it your way, which then the people will emerge that want to learn it your way. And while, as mentioned, there are many different people talking about entrepreneurship, I tend to attract those that are interested in the flow-based way of entrepreneurship. And why? Because that's the way that I do it. And that's the way that I like to teach it. And there are many ways of going about doing it. So I attract those that like to do it this way. And then also relate very deeply to what I'm saying here. Great. We are a perfect match. That's what I mean. I just show up being me. I just do what I love to do. And all these things spontaneously emerge. And you and I know different. You could do the same as well. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.